Welcome back to the second video in a new series that I'm doing on my channel, which aims to analyze and break down each arc of Hunter x Hunter. In this video, I'll be going over the very short second arc of the series, called the Zoldyck Family Arc. So if you haven't seen my first video, which covers the Hunter exam arc, definitely watch that video before this one. I had initially planned to combine this arc with the Heaven's Arena arc, but I don't want to rush over any details. So for this reason, I'll be doing a separate video for the Heaven's Arena arc, while taking the opportunity to really understand Killua's family who are introduced to us during this arc. So like the first video of this series, I'll be aiming to break down the story events and see the character progression and try to understand the new concepts that are introduced to us by Togashi. So let's get into it, my breakdown, analysis and review of the Zoldyck Family Arc. The Zoldyck Family Arc begins in chapter 39 and ends in chapter 43. It picks up from the end of the Hunter exam arc with Gon, Kurapika and Leorio deciding to go on a new adventure to rescue their friend Killua. He has returned to his family home in Kurapika Mountain after failing the Hunter exam for killing his opponent during the final phase of the exam. During this arc, we see the trio of characters, Leorio, Kurapika and Gon, build upon their friendships that they had formed during the first arc and see how they work together to overcome their obstacles in order to see their friend Killua. It is made aware to us that not many people would call someone from the Zoldyck family a friend. Understandably, because they are a family of assassins, over the years they have built a reputation for themselves. Killua, who is supposed to be the next heir to the family, refuses to allow his family to decide how he should live his life and what he should become. He of course had no choice whether if he wanted to enter into the Hunter exam. He had attacked his sibling and his mother in order to escape from his family home. He does all of this just for the sake of making a decision on his own. He wanted to sit the exam because he thought it was difficult, and he wanted to experience this difficulty for himself and to have the freedom of making a choice on his own. His decision to enter into the Hunter exam was probably the first ever choice that he had made for himself, without any outside input from his family. It is no secret that Killua is a very gifted child. His talent and his level of skill makes for him to be a very promising candidate for the future head of the Zoldyck family. But as we learn during this arc, the friendships that he has formed mean more to him than his destiny and the expectations of his parents to be the next heir to the Zoldyck family. So now let's start by breaking down the story with chapter 39, where we see Gon, Kurapika and Leorio travel towards Kurapika Mountain. We see them use various different forms of travel, the first being a mixture between a blimp and a plane, and we even see them commuting on a train later. On this train they have their first glimpse of the mountain where Killua's family resides. It appears to have a foreboding and creepy aura, which is to be expected from the headquarters of a famous assassin family. We can see that Leorio and Kurapika are strategizing and fearing for the worst, but Gon is pretty carefree and he assumes that they are only going to see their friend. It's no big deal. Despite being told some history about Killua's past from Killua himself, I don't think Gon appreciates Killua's situation until the end of this arc. We will see later on in this video how Gon's determination is put to the test, through the various trials that he faces in order to prove himself as a true friend to Killua. As well as this, he is tested to see if he is worthy enough to be around Killua. The people around Killua are very protective over him and don't want him to be associated with anyone weak or someone who will bring him down or not look out for his best interests. After arriving at their destination and asking about the Zoldyck family's residence, they go on a bus tour which will take them to Kurapika Mountain. We learn that Kurapika Mountain is in fact a dormant volcano. It reaches 12,000 feet in height and is surrounded by a very thick forest. This is where Killua and his family live. The Zoldyck family is made up of Killua and his 5 siblings, his parents and his grandparents and his great-grandfather. All of them aside from Killua are assassins. The entrance to the Zoldyck residence is closed off by a gate called the Door to Hades. It is called this because people who tend to go in never come back out. Gon and the others meet the gatekeeper who works for the Zoldyck family. His name is Zebro and he is employed by the Zoldyck family to clean up after a monstrous guard dog called Mike, who devours trespassers who dare to go near the Zoldyck residence. Zebro reveals that there are 2 gates which lead to the Zoldyck family's front yard. Don't confuse this front yard as a patch of grass. The Zoldyck family's front yard is acres upon acres of forest. The main passageway into this forest is through the testing gate, where the strength of an individual is put to the test, as they must push open a total of 4 tons to even enter into the estate. Most arrogant individuals who are looking to claim the bounty of the Zoldyck family harass the gatekeeper for a key, which will allow them entrance to the side door. But this is where the Zoldyck family's guard dog devours the people. Mike the guard dog has been trained not to devour individuals who have passed through the testing gate. Zebro isn't really a gatekeeper. His real job is to clean up the mess that Mike makes after he eats trespassers. The testing gate serves a purpose to keep out those who are unworthy to enter. If you are unable to push open the level 1 door to the testing gate, which weighs 4 tons, then you have no business going to the Zoldyck residence. I love Hunter x Hunter for the way that it humbles the characters within the series through these various different situations. Even after passing the Hunter exam, they are unable to open this gate. It is the first crash back down to reality after passing the Hunter exam that the characters face. Even after acquiring their Hunter license, their journey of growth is far from being over. Thankfully, Zebro is able to open the first level of the testing gate. We learn that as the level of the gate increases, the weight doubles. When Killua had returned, he was able to open up to the 3rd level of the testing gate, which weighed a total of 16 tons, proving that Killua, who is just a 12-year-old boy, has far more to him than meets the eye, while also demonstrating that his strength at least far exceeds that of Gon and the others. Gon is pretty simplistic, and he doesn't like the way that the Zoldyck family conducts themselves. He doesn't want to go through all of these tests just so that he could see his friend. Understandably, this is far from the warm welcome that anyone would expect from visiting their friend. For the sake of seeing Killua, he doesn't mind entering through the side door, where he risks being eaten by Mike. He would rather be an intruder than to be tested to see his friend. The others disagree with Gon because taking a test is much better than committing suicide. As well as this, Zebro refuses to give Killua's friends the key to the side door. Gon eventually loses his patience and, using his fishing rod, tries to climb the wall. This pushes Zebro to be left with no choice. He offers to accompany the 3 of them through the testing gate. After seeing Gon's determination for himself, he decides that he is passionate and steadfast in his own desires. Gon is the type of person who will remain loyal to his friends. His kind-hearted nature allows him to sacrifice a lot for the sake of others. Zebro is confident that Gon, Kurapika and Leorio working together can handle just about anything, and it is for this reason that he allows them to enter through the testing gate, and he accompanies them also. After entering, they immediately meet Mike, and they understand that he is a highly trained animal. He is unlike any of the animals that Gon would have encountered during his childhood in the wild. After looking into Mike's eyes, Gon realizes that he is unable to communicate with him. He only follows the orders from the Zoldyck family. He is like a machine. Mike shows little to no interest in anything but following his orders. Gon concludes that Mike is indeed terrifying, and he would prefer not to get on the animal's bad side. Zebro, who is continuing to evaluate Gon's personality, also notes that he is honest from this response. He takes the trio to the servants' quarters, where they discover that everything from the doors to the slippers and cups are all weighted. They have been purposefully designed that way so that individuals constantly work out while they stay there. Zebro recommends for the 3 of them to train while they stay in the servants' quarters. He doesn't recommend that they climb Kukuru Mountain until they are able to open the testing gate themselves. He suggests that if they were to train there for 1 month, then they would be able to open up the first level of the testing gate. The 3 of them agree to this proposal. Despite Gon saying that he doesn't like tests, they don't see any other alternative or any other fair way with continuing to progress up Kukuru Mountain. They have to at least meet the minimum requirements that the Zoldyck family require. They are honouring this benchmark as they begin their training with weighted vests. At the end of chapter 40, we appear to have a 2-week time skip, where we see Gon, Kurapika and Leorio all open up the testing gate after only 2 weeks of training. This of course impresses Zebro, as he considers them to be real contenders who are worthy of meeting the Zoldyck family. In chapter 41, Zebro sees them off as they leave the servants' quarters, and they head towards the Zoldyck residence, hoping to meet Killua. Shortly after they set off, they meet a butler who works for the Zoldyck family. It appears that the family of assassins and the people who work for them are very powerful. The butlers who work for the Zoldyck family are not to be underestimated, as Gon, Kurapika and Leorio encounter a butler who requests for them to leave, telling them that trespassers are not welcome despite all 3 of them having successfully passed through the testing gate. But despite going through all of these lengths, the butlers didn't give them permission to enter, so they are deemed as trespassers on private property. Gon continues to be blunt and simple-minded and wonders how on earth are they able to get permission if, even after saying they were friends, they were not allowed to enter. The butler has no idea and has no way to properly answer Gon, and continues to define the 3 of them as trespassers, who must leave immediately. The butler draws a line across the ground and and states that if any of them were to cross this line, then she will forcibly remove them from the property herself. Gon ignores this warning and, determined to see his friend, continues to walk on forward until he crosses the line. The butler keeps to her word and attacks Gon, pushing him back, but Gon gets back up, refusing help from Kurapika and Leorio, and he himself refuses to fight with the butler because he didn't come here to fight anyone. He simply came to see his friend. The butler has no sympathy for Gon's ordeal, as she is simply following her orders. This is the next trial that the trio must overcome in order to progress up Kukuru Mountain. He repeatedly gets back up and walks across the line and gets attacked again and again. It appears that he's been doing this for hours on end. Once again, he shows his determination to meet Killua, as we see that his face has become very swollen after being repeatedly attacked. He refuses to fight back and he sticks to his word that he hasn't come here to fight. The butler sees the determination in Gon's face and sees the injuries that he has sustained for his purpose. She even begins to plead for him to leave, as it is even becoming too much for her to continue attacking her already beaten Gon. What I love about this scene is that Gon is displaying his monstrous determination that we've seen several times before. He knows that this approach would not have worked with Mike, as the animal has become a soulless killing machine. We see that Gon's tactic appears to be working, as the resolve of the butler is wavering. She even begins to plead with Kurapika and Leorio, telling them to stop their friend before he continues to get hurt. But Kurapika and Leorio honor Gon's determination by standing steadfast. The stern expressions on the faces of the two of them show that they do not want to dishonor Gon. As true friends and companions of Gon, they are here to back up Gon's determination and his resolve to see Killua. They have no intention of intervening and belittling Gon's efforts. Gon even asks her why is it that they have to go through all of this just for the sake of seeing their friend. Eventually, when Gon crosses the line, the butler stops attacking him, because she even knows that it is senseless to continue to beat him, because he isn't going to stop. She already sees how bloodied, bruised and swollen his face is. She understands through Gon's actions how much of a loyal friend he is to Killua, that he would go through all of this just for the sake of seeing him. We learned that her name is Canary and that she is a butler's apprentice, and Killua had tried to befriend her when they were children, and it is for this reason that her resolve wavers, and she requests for Gon to please save Killua, as it appears that he is in some form of danger. Just as she says this, the butler is blindsided and taken out by Killua's mother. She appears and tells Gon that Killua is aware that the three of them have been here for the past 3 weeks, but she tells them that Killua is currently too busy to meet them at the moment. We learn that Killua is chained up from all 4 of his limbs, with cuts and bruises all over his body. Within the Zoldyck mansion, we see that Killua's older brother Miluki has been torturing him, but it appears that his whipping has little to no effect on Killua. Even when he puts out his cigarette on Killua's body, he hardly even reacts. He just describes the feeling as a stinging sensation, highlighting his incredibly high pain threshold. We see that Killua has been voluntarily chained up, as he could have escaped at any time, as he breaks free of his shackles after hearing Miluki ask his mother if he should order the butlers to kill Killua's 3 friends. He warns Miluki not to do this with this very sadistic look that we've seen before during the Hunter exam arc. The two of them are then interrupted by the introduction of Killua's grandfather called Zeno. He gives Killua permission to leave, which leads to Killua very easily breaking free of the rest of his shackles, proving that he was imprisoned out of his own choice. It is really impressive that even after weeks of torturing, he appears to be unfazed. The attitude that he is expressing tells a completely different story to the blood and cuts that are all over his body. He tells Miluki that he doesn't regret running away from the Zoldyck residence in order to enter into the Hunter exam, but he knows that he deserved the punishment for attacking his brother and his mother. His grandfather Zeno tells Killua that his father would like to have a word with him, and excitedly we are now introduced to Killua's father. After Killua leaves, his grandfather describes him as special, as someone who has a lot of potential. It is known that Killua is one of the most talented children to have come from the Zoldyck family. Because of his talents, his mother is incredibly proud of him, but all of them agree that his actions are too unpredictable for him to be a good assassin as of yet. What assassin runs away from his family and desires to live the life of a normal boy, wanting to make friendships with people who care about him and who he cares for? These aren't the traits of someone who belongs to a world-famous assassin family. In chapter 42, we are introduced to Killua's father, Silva Zoldyck. He asks about Killua's friends and wants to know everything about his experiences during the Hunter exam arc. It's nice to see this father and son relationship, as I was expecting his father to be very dismissive and controlling, but it appears that he is understanding and wants to learn more about Killua and what he wants. He offers him an open platform, allowing him to discuss anything and everything. He just wants him to talk to him. Cutting back to Gon and the others, Killua's mother eventually leaves after she learns that Killua has been freed. For the time being, Gon and the others take the butler's apprentice Canary to the butler's quarters, where her injuries can be tended to. She suggests that from the butler's quarters, they will be able to directly get in touch with the mansion, and if they get a hold of Killua's grandfather, then he may be able to help them to see Killua. After Killua explains everything to his father, he asks him if he wants to meet Gon, and he asks for him to be honest. From what he tells Killua, it appears that his father appreciates that he shouldn't just raise his son son as an assassin. Killua is not an extension of his father, nor was he born to live up to the expectations of his family. He is his own person. He wants him to pursue his own path and hopes that maybe it will lead him back to his family one day. He asks Killua one more time if he wants to see his friends, to which Killua says yes. Before he leaves, his father makes him promise to him that he will never betray his friends. Gon and Killua have a very pure friendship. Killua has no idea about all of the various different things that Gon has endured in order to prove his friendship. Killua, without thinking, appears to reciprocate these same feelings as Gon, as he swears to never betray his friends, giving his friendship equally as much importance as Gon, Kurapika and Leorio have been, who went out of their way and sacrificed several weeks in order to train and eventually meet Killua again. An important detail to note is when Killua's father explains to his wife about why he had let Killua go. She states that it is an important time in his development as the future head of the Zoldyck family. Silva states that it is for this reason that they need to give him his freedom and to allow him to do this. He is very confident that Killua will be back one day. Before Killua is reunited with his friends, the three of them arrive at the butler's quarters, and it is here that they meet the head butler called Goto. He tells them that Killua is on his way and that they should wait for him here. Since they have some time to spare, he suggests that they play a game with him. He offers to play a simple coin toss game with them, where he tosses a coin up in the air and the three of them have to guess which hand the coin is in. But the game doesn't appear to be as easy as it sounds, as Goto utilizes incredibly fast and distracting hand movements in order to distract them from finding out which hand the coin is in. Before the game begins seriously, he clarifies something to the three of them. He tells them that he has known Killua since he was a baby, and he cares about him as if he were his own son. He is against the idea of the three of them taking Killua away from the Zoldyck family. Goto decides to test the three of them to see if they are worthy enough to accompany Killua. The rules of the test are simple. The three of them have to decide which hand the coin is in. It will get progressively harder with each coin toss. If a wrong guess is made, then that individual is out, and this will continue until all three of them are out. If all three of them are to be eliminated, then they have to leave Killua alone, and when Killua arrives, he will just tell him that his friends had left without him. Even after going through all of these several different tests, it appears that their friendship is being put to the test once more. For the sake of Killua's freedom, they have to win this game. They cannot afford to lose and leave their friend behind living an unhappy existence. Just before the game begins, Goto makes it very clear that he dislikes all three of them. After the first coin toss, Leorio is eliminated, and Kurapika and Gon remain. The second coin toss was so incredibly fast that neither Gon or Killua were able to see it. The two of them decide that one will choose the right hand and the other will choose the left hand. Gon's guess of the left hand is correct and Kurapika is now eliminated. Before Gon continues, he takes off his eye patch and he cuts across his eyelid. He does this to reduce the inflammation, which will prevent his left eye from closing. Once again, Gon continues to prove his friendship to Killua by going through with this very extreme measure of cutting across his eyelid. He is determined to see his friend, and he isn't going to let this little game ruin his chances of that, especially after he has come so far. I think so far this is definitely one of Gon's most badass moments. Just how carefree he is and how he cuts himself with little to no hesitation for the sake of his friend. With the use of his eyes, Gon is able to successfully pass another two coin tosses before Killua arrives and interrupts them. It appears that after this, Gon has earned the approval of Goto, who apologizes for taking his game a little too far. Before they leave, Goto tells Gon that the world is full of tricks and tricksters, and he advises him to be careful. As well as this, he asks Gon to look after Killua before they leave. When Killua is reunited with the others, it's like he had never left. They immediately pick up from where they had left off, and it highlights the strength of his friendship, especially with Gon. In such a short amount of time during the Hunter exam arc, the two boys had formed a very strong friendship with each other, something pure and unconditional which you can only find through the innocence of childhood. The Zoldyck Family Arc ends with the four of them leaving Kukuru Mountain. Killua questions Gon why he is being so stubborn by not using his Hunter license, despite having passed the Hunter exam, but Gon explains that there are a few things that he must do before he can use it. He feels that there are several people that he needs to see before he feels like he is a hunter himself. Firstly, he says something of importance which I completely overlooked during my first watch of the series. He says that he wants to return his father's hunter's license back to Kite, who had left it behind with Gon when they met when he was just a child. And second, he wants to become strong enough to punch Hisoka in the face, and to return his badge to him from the fourth phase of the Hunter exam. He says that until he does these two things, he won't be satisfied to call himself a hunter and to use his hunter license. But it appears that Gon has no idea where to find Hisoka. Kurapika interrupts and reveals what Hisoka had whispered into his ear during the final phase of the Hunter exam. We learn that Hisoka had told Kurapika that he knows something interesting about the spiders. By spiders, he is referring to the Phantom Troop, the very criminal organization that Kurapika is hunting for the slaughter of his clan. He tells Kurapika that he is going to be in York New City on the 1st of September, where he will explain what exactly he knows about the Phantom Troop. In 6 months from now, on the 1st of September, York New City will be hosting the world's largest auction. It will last for 10 days, and during this this auction, rare and unusual objects from all over the world will be sold. There is every possibility that the Phantom Troop will be in attendance, but one thing is for certain, Hisoka will certainly be there. Kurapika tells Gon that he will find Hisoka there and he will call him to update him, but for now he states that he must split up and leave them behind in order to earn enough money to attend the auction. Unlike Gon, he is going to put his hunter license to use. Leorio also decides to head back home in order to study for his medical school entrance exams. Now that he has his hunter's license, he'll be able to cover his tuition costs and actually attend a public medical school. So Kurapika and Leorio leave the party with every intention to meet back up again on the 1st of September in York New City, while Gon and Killua decide that they need to train in order to get stronger. As Killua breaks down the strength difference between Gon, Hanzo and Hisoka, he states that they have just 6 months in order to get stronger, especially if Gon aims to return the punch back to Hisoka. Killua tells him even with 6 months of training he will be nowhere near as strong enough to beat Hisoka, so the two of them decide to go to Heaven's Arena where they'll be able to train and earn money at the same time, thus concluding the Zoldyck Family Arc and leading into the Heaven's Arena arc. This arc was completely different to the first arc. It truly tested the bonds that had formed between the characters in the first arc, especially through all of the trials and tests that Gon and the others had to undergo, through having the strength to push open the testing gate, or Gon encountering the butler, and lastly how Gon, Kurapika and Leorio accepted Goto's coin toss game. Through all of these several different tests, Gon and the others were earning their acceptance from several different people who are very protective over Killua and the Zoldyck family. First, they earned the acceptance of Zebro, and then the acceptance of the apprentice butler Canary, and lastly, the acceptance of the head butler Goto. Through all of these different trials, they proved that they are worthy enough to be Killua's companions. But speaking of the people who are holding Killua back, it appears that Killua's older brother Miluki and Killua's mother are opposed to the idea of him having his own freedom, but his grandfather Zeno and his father Silva appear to be more understanding and lenient on Killua. Through this arc, we see that they allow him to have his own freedom and don't always act like they know what's best for him. We see that his brother and his mother and all of the butlers so far appear to act like they know what's best for Killua, but ultimately Killua just wants to live an ordinary life. He really couldn't care less about being an assassin or being the future head of the Zoldyck family. This incredibly talented boy just wants to travel with his friend Gon. At the end of this arc, we see Killua finally being granted his freedom, and in the process we learn more about his family and the environment in which he was raised in. In every sense, Killua had his childhood robbed from him. Now at the age of 12, he is no longer going to sit by and allow others to make decisions for him. After forming his first real friendship with Gon, he doesn't want to take this opportunity for granted. So after repenting for attacking his mother and his brother, he leaves with Gon and the others. And one thing that I have continued to mention throughout this video, and I feel like I did mention quite a lot in the first Hunter x Hunter video that I did, is the level of determination that Gon has, and how this plays into the dynamic that he shares with Killua. We see Killua who blatantly displays his devilish alter ego with the ice-cold glare that he gives to people who aggravate him. You can feel the killer intent in his aura and through his cold eyes. This is an obvious display of the monster within his character, but what we see through the determination that Gon displays is that he is a monster in his own right. The level of persistence that he displays by continually getting beaten and standing back up to receive a further beating from the butler's apprentice, and how he wouldn't take no for an answer throughout this whole arc, and how he was very vocal about how he felt about the Zoldyck family and their practices. His persistence and his determination did indeed pay off. Seeing this very frightening determination that Gon has behind his innocent smile is very telling, and I really can't wait for this dynamic to be played up upon more between Killua and Gon as we continue the series and begin to explore the more darker aspects to each of their characters. Another aspect that I really liked about this arc is the way that it concluded, with the characters going their separate ways. In a typical shonen, it is usually normal for the cast of characters to stick together, but when all four characters have very differing motivations and desires that they want to pursue, it is a breath of fresh air to see characters actually follow through with their pursuits and make active decisions to work towards them, like Leorio returning home to enter into medical school, or Kurapika leaving to earn money to enter into the auction in York New City. All four of them going their separate ways but promising to be reunited at a future arc. I believe it is a great setup, and it only makes you look forward to the arc after the Heaven's Arena arc. But for now, Killua makes a really great point at the end of the arc that the two of them need to train and get stronger. Despite being incredibly gifted young boys, the two of them are far from reaching the level of the hunters that they have encountered so far, like Hanzo and Hisoka. I'm really looking forward to re-experiencing the Heaven's Arena arc in my next video, and I hope that you are too. If you think that I forgot to mention anything from the Zoldyck Family arc, or I didn't pay attention to anything in particular, then do continue the discussion in the comments down below. I hope that all of you are enjoying my Hunter x Hunter series of videos that I'm doing in December. My aim is to release 8 videos covering the entirety of the series, with the exception of the latest arc which isn't completed yet. So So if you want me to pay attention or focus on certain areas of the upcoming arcs, then definitely let me know by leaving a comment under this video. Once again, thank you for watching the video and I hope to see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, then please consider supporting my channel on Patreon. I have multiple tiers with rewards including access to an exclusive Discord server, video scripts, as well as being the first to know about unreleased upcoming videos. Thank you for your time, and whatever you choose to contribute I will appreciate and it will mean a lot to me.